What do you think is the likelihood of our world facing a global catastrophe? But what kind of catastrophic scenario might we face? A deadly epidemic, a global nuclear war, an asteroid hitting the Earth, the collapse of the Earth's magnetic field, and solar storms causing irreversible damage to electronic systems. What will happen to us when we face such a disaster? Such a situation could possibly end most people's lives. However, the situation will not be the same for everyone. In many places, there is a group called elites that manages money and holds power, and they will make plans to keep themselves alive while shaping the future of the world in line with their own goals. Are we aware of these elites' plans against such disasters? For example, do we know about their secret shelters? Of course, we do not have clear information. We only know about some details that are the subject of various conspiracy theories. Thousands of people may even be entering and exiting some shelter of the elite every day. I feel like I'm hearing what's on your mind. What am I talking about? Of course, from the mysterious Denver International Airport. Welcome to my channel called The Discovery of Mystery, where we will unveil the curtains of secrets. Denver Airport has been attracting attention with its mystery since the decision to build it was made. In fact, the city already had Stephen Airport, which was successfully serving in the center. Considering that Denver is 20th in air traffic in the United States, it could be said that Stephen Airport was sufficient. However, with a sudden decision by the governor of the city, it was decided to build a new airport far away from the city center. The construction of the airport began in 1989, and interestingly, it was completed with a massive budget that exceeded its originally planned budget by as much as $2 billion. The cost of the airport reached an incredible figure. If you want to know why the budget is so high, don't worry. You will find the answers in this video. The surface area of Denver International Airport is 150 square kilometers. This size is surprising considering that, as mentioned earlier, Denver ranks 20th in terms of air traffic among cities in the United States. So, why was there a need for such a large airport in Denver? This question raises a series of other questions. However, the most striking one is, what if Denver International Airport is not just an airport? The oddities are not limited to what I have described so far. Another strange detail is related to the companies involved in the construction of the airport. No single company has taken on the construction of the airport. Almost every section of the construction was undertaken by a different company. After a company started and completed a specific section of the construction, its contract was terminated. A new agreement was then reached with a different company for the construction of the next section. The construction process has consistently continued in this manner. This situation has led to no single company knowing exactly what was built before or after their involvement in the construction. Additionally, although it is rumored that the airport has been built 6 levels deep underground, the exact number of levels constructed is not definitively known. There are indeed many peculiarities surrounding the construction of Denver International Airport. Some buildings constructed by one company during the construction were buried underground by the next company. The length of fiber optic cable used in the construction site is approximately 9,000 kilometers. In short, it's a colossal structure. Truly fascinating. But it doesn't end there because the details inside the airport are even more mysterious than its construction. Denver International Airport has always been the subject of various rumors due to such peculiarities. For example, rumors began circulating about the layout of the runways forming a pattern resembling a Nazi symbol when viewed from the air. I must say, personally, I find this rumor a bit absurd. Anyway, let's continue. Over time, conspiracy theorists have also become increasingly interested in the matter. Of course, similar questions linger in everyone's minds. Could this airport really have been constructed by a secret organization for hidden purposes? Could the underground levels of the airport also house shelters prepared for disaster scenarios for a specific group? Who knows? It's not surprising that people are seeking answers to such questions, because Denver International Airport is very different from other conventional airports. As you take your first steps into the airport, you are greeted by a colossal rearing horse sculpture. However, we cannot say that this is an ordinary horse. Its body, painted in pale blue, symbolizes a frightening figure with prominent red veins and glowing red eyes. So did this horse figure remind you of something? This horse figure has been seen in another place in history more. It symbolizes one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse mentioned in the Bible, representing the horse that will bring the final destruction before Judgment Day. It's truly intriguing that this figure is incorporated into the airport's design. The oddities don't end when you enter the building. Inside, you encounter some unsettling medieval figures, Gothic statues, and reliefs. Similar creature statues can be found in some churches. In ancient beliefs, it was thought that these statues ward off evil spirits. Seeing these disturbing statues before boarding a plane is far from comforting. As you progress through the area, you begin to see large wall murals with vivid colors. Unfortunately, as you approach, you are not greeted by a beautiful scene. Instead, you see a mural specially designed by artist Leo Tanguma. The mural features a dead child lying in a coffin, extinct animals, burned forests and cities, and a child holding a Mayan tablet depicting the end of the world. The details in this interesting design are truly disturbing. However, the sense of discomfort is not limited to just this painting. You continue to explore deeper meanings in the next one. In the painting, a soldier holding a machine gun and a sword, with a chemical warfare mask on his face. A city is cut by with a sword. A white dead dove symbolizing peace at the tip of the sword, and children lying helplessly amidst. On the left side, people sadly leave the city, and a mother mourns for her dead baby in her arms. In the lower right corner, there is a real poem written by a child who died in Nazi concentration camps. The story behind these paintings makes the situation even more poignant. When you think about it, I'm sure you'll come to similar conclusions. This is an airport where thousands of people enter and exit in a single day. But why weren't more pleasant paintings or images chosen, and instead, paintings with such symbols and disturbing details were preferred? Understanding this is truly difficult. As you navigate through the paintings, you encounter different symbols. In the last painting that comes into view, figuras depict the death of the soldier from the previous painting, the revitalization of nature, the resurgence of the sacred tree of life, and the spread of love and peace on earth. These paintings truly prompt viewers to contemplate deeply. As you move away from the paintings and go further, you notice a prominent stone. On it, there is a symbol of the famous square and compass of the Freemasons. Beneath this stone, you come across an inscription that sparks further contemplation, with contributions from the New World Airport Commission. When you see this information, you feel astonished and begin researching the role of this commission in the construction of America's largest and most expensive airport. Surprisingly, you realize that such a commission never actually existed. This information is often provided like this in videos discussing this topic, but in reality, it is not entirely accurate. This commission did exist at the time of the airport's opening event, but its name sounds quite peculiar. The presence of the Masonic symbol is not that surprising either, as Masons indeed made significant donations to the construction of the airport. It's indeed an intriguing detail that a group, often viewed with suspicion by many, contributed significantly to the construction of such an airport with a substantial donation. While Freemasonry is generally perceived as a community associated with charitable activities today, many people believe that this perception does not reflect the true nature of the organization, and that it harbors darker intentions for the world. Symbols affiliated with Freemasonry can be found everywhere, much like the symbols at Denver International Airport, our current topic. Personally, I do not believe that these symbols were placed there without a specific purpose. Indeed, all of them are symbols that require discussion and contemplation. Now, let's take a moment to think. Let's recall some conspiracy theories we have heard so far. We know that one of the steps of the project known as the New World Order or One World Government is to reduce the world population. In fact, it would be inaccurate to call this a conspiracy theory, because we are witness the speeches openly discussing the idea that the world population is excessive and needs to be reduced. They are now expressing it openly. So, how exactly are they planning to achieve this? How will they reduce the world population? For answer of this question requires us to take a look at some details of the New World Order. Some believe it's the Masons, others believe it's the Illuminati. In my opinion, their identity is not that important. Actually, no one has clear information on this matter too. By the way, let me mention that I'll prepare some interesting content about Illuminati and Freemasonry for you. I'll share it in the coming days. Please stay tuned. Let's get back to our topic again. Let's leave aside the organizations and their names. After all, we believe that behind the New World Order, there is a significant power center, and this power undoubtedly attempts to implement a grand plan. This power, wanting to shape the world and, if necessary, unite it under one roof, should be executing some actions. If you ask what these actions are, controlling the media, undermining educational systems to breed an obedient, ignorant, and unquestioning generation, taking control of countries through economic crises, making significant investments in military technologies, increasing the powers of law enforcement agencies responsible for internal security in countries, silencing dissenting voices with these forces, compromising the independence of legal and judicial processes, making them dependent on authority, countries disregarding human life for the sake of power, and enacting a digital currency system that fully controls financial power. When you think about it, we are not actually unfamiliar with these issues today, are we? Certainly, the mentioned actions are aimed at creating a more controllable and suppressible system. Such a system's functionality can be enhanced by reducing the population. Numerous conspiracy theories have been developed in this regard. Whether they intend to achieve the population reduction through diseases, wars, or different disasters, we cannot be sure. We will have to see if these goals are true through experience. Now, let's delve a bit deeper into some conspiracy theories. I mentioned at the beginning of this video how the construction of Denver International Airport was carried out with a massive budget. At some point in the project, the responsibility was taken over by the government, covering the remaining costs entirely. Additionally, I mentioned the 6 underground floors, extensive tunnel networks, and large buildings buried underground. Authorities stated that a large baggage system was intended to be installed for some of the underground levels. However, for some reason, this extensively funded baggage system was never put into operation. This is truly intriguing. People cannot make sense of this, and the mystery surrounding the airport is growing. At this point, let's delve a bit deeper into conspiracy theories. I want to tell you about Phil Schneider. Have you heard this name before? Phil Schneider was an American geologist and structural engineer who claimed to have previously worked on secret underground projects for the US government. After working for the American government for an extended period, and experiencing some tragic events allegedly, he decided to become a whistleblower. Among his confessions are topics related to Denver International Airport. For instance, he claimed that there are not 6 but 8 floors beneath Denver Airport, and the additional 2 floors house an extensive military underground facility. He stated that secret research was conducted in this facility, going further to claim the presence of an extraterrestrial race and experiments on humans in that facility. The information shared by Phil Schneider seems like excerpts from a science fiction movie. After revealing this information, Phil Schneider was found dead in his home on January 17, 1996, much like 12 of his colleagues who had reportedly died a few years before him. Phil Schneider's revelations, after that his subsequent death, and the similar fate of 12 of his colleagues, are indeed quite strange. We don't know how much of what Phil Schneider described is true, and how much might be inaccurate. However, the fact that he was found dead at home shortly after sharing this information, along with 12 of his colleagues meeting the same fate, is highly unusual. I think this incident cannot be accepted and dismissed as a normal event. Finally, I would like to touch upon the attitudes and statements of airport authorities. Despite all the conspiracy theories and strange rumors, the ease and even mocking attitudes displayed by airport officials strike me as very intriguing. Considering the significant cost and all the details I have described, I think that the nonchalant behavior of airport officials could be a deceptive strategic tactic. I share the same view with many people who have researched this issue. Honestly, I think that in the face of a global catastrophe, the airport could serve as a large shelter prepared for a specific group. Especially the fact that former US President Obama managed an exercise at Denver Airport before leaving office, and this exercise was related to a biological attack, with certain sections of the airport being used in the drill, strengthens the claims of an underground shelter. Whether this is true, whether we will actually experience such disasters, we cannot know this. We will live it and find out. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. You can support my channel by liking the content and leaving comments. Until we meet again.